In November of last year, just over 8 months ago, I pulled my 1991 Acura NSX into the shop to move forward with my dream build, a fully restored K-swapped NSX. Now fast forward to the end of August, the build escalated as they always do, and we decided to turbo the K-series. Not only turbo it, but twin turbo it. So on June 5th, nearly 2 months ago, I loaded the car up in my trailer and dropped it off at my favorite fab shop in the world, Straight Fabrication here in Spokane, Washington. In the last episode, we got the entire hot side of the turbo kit done. That included cutting out the trunk pan to make space for the turbos, building the turbo manifold, wastegate placement, and the exhaust. The NSX is turning out better than I could have ever imagined, but we still have quite a bit of work to do. Now before we get too far into the build, I want to let you guys know there's only 5 days left on the FK8 Type R giveaway. Every $3 you spend on the website is one entry to take the car home, and if you don't want a beautiful 2019 Civic Type R that makes 400 horsepower to the tires, the winner can also choose $15,000 in cash. And not only that, if the winner decides to take the car home, I'm giving them the choice of whatever set of wheels they want on the car. You pick them, I order them, I install them, I ship the car to your door for free. Today we have a massive update on the twin turbo NSX build. This thing has been one of the biggest projects we've ever tackled. All the hot side stuff is done. You peek down in here, that's how the manifold looks. 4 and 1 go to one turbo, 2 and 3 go to the other turbo. And now it's time to move on to all the cold side stuff. Air to water, ice box, piping, and of course a floor to cover up the turbo kit. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to film any of the floor building process. Somehow this thing was knocked out in a few hours and it turned out phenomenal. So this top plate will...
This will be bolted down.
Yeah, okay. That floor looks pretty nice even from underneath.
I'm pretty stoked on it, dude.
Moving on to the last big hurdle, the air to water cooler.
Kind of look like something like that. And then this will sit that area there. And we'll be coming up one on each side, straight into the intercooler. And then
out through there.
Yeah, out through there. So then we'll be... That's where I was going to start this morning, was weld the van into that. So van and then tube straight through, van back here.
That's going to be
so you'll have 2 van on this side, and then we're going to do silicone couplers on this side.
That's going to be nice.
So pretty stoked. So yeah, I'm going to start on this side and work back to the firewall here, so that way I know where we're coming through. That'll help me nail down where that tank's got to point, and then kind of work backwards from that.
That makes sense. It's coming along, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Almost finished up.
We're getting close. I mean, and then we'll have options on where to put your tank. We should be able to put your reservoir over here or over here. Either way, you should have room for mounting tanks and pumps and all that.
Yeah, still some trunk space, but
not a lot. But there's a little there. You'll be able, put a sweater back there and a couple microfibers, a bottle quick detailer. Being that the turbos are in the back of the car, there's not space for a traditional air-to-air intercooler. So just like how the twin turbo Lamborghini guys do it, we need to go air to water. After making the templates and transferring all of that to aluminum, it was time to piece together the air to water cooler.
Watching this air-to-water cooler come together was pretty insane. Well, this is pretty wild looking.
Yeah.
Dang. That's super cool.
If we want this to be stainless, we can redo this out of stainless still. I just kind of got on a roll, and I was like building stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, this is just gonna fit right in there.
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh shit, well maybe he wanted that out of stainless, but then it's like stainless this side, all aluminum on that side.
Yeah, let's just keep it. Looks fine.
Already got 11 psi. I guess if we had to fuck it.
And after 2 days of solid work, she was complete. So I just got word the NSX is 100% finished up with the turbo kit. So I got the truck and trailer, and we're gonna go pick it up. What do you think, Chris?
I think it's great.
I think it's pretty spot on.
Tired of hearing about boats.
Your plywood does not like the wheels.
The Fab Master's here. I don't know if you're ready for this, Austin.
Oh, dude, I could do better with my eyes closed.
Not bad, huh?
I think it's sick.
It's a lot of Fab.
Is this the icebox?
No, that's just the floor.
Floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that in.
Icebox is gonna most likely go in the front. Yeah, dude, not bad.
I don't know that well. It's pretty inconsistent.
It is.
Looks
He
good.
said he had 125 hours into it.
Damn.
All right, we made it back to the shop. Let's go ahead and get this thing unloaded, and we have a lot of work to get done. Seeing this thing with the entire turbo kit complete is just absolutely mind-blowing. Look at how freaking cool that looks. I'm very curious to see how it's gonna sound and also see how the setup is gonna perform. Let's get this thing up in the air and run through everything that we had done. All right, check this thing out. So, starting from the engine, we have the manifold that runs down into the mid pipe here, V-band, V-band. Now each side has the flex joints, and then the mid pipe runs out, comes up and over to the turbo on each side. Right in the center there, we have the wastegates that recirculate back into the exhaust. And as far as the exhaust comes out of the turbo, nice little X pipe here and runs out the rear bumper in the factory location. Now the giant pipes, the 4-inch pipes on each side, that is for the intake. So the intake runs over and the filter is gonna be right up in here, which will be underneath the inner fender liner, which is gonna get its air from these giant side ducts right in the quarter panel. You can also see they did go ahead and build a stainless heat shield. So there's an inch air gap from this heat shield up to the floor that they built. And laying on the floor looking up, this is how the setup looks. That is insane. That is incredible looking. Now with the car on the ground, you can see here the turbo runs over to the air to water cooler here on each side. So it's very symmetrical. Air to water is dead center. And then the outlet runs here to the firewall. Over to the engine bay, we have 2 BOVs here. Only reason we went with 2 BOVs is for looks. I think it looks super cool. And then into the intake manifold there. The coolest thing about these BOVs, check out that serial number and check out that serial number. These are sequential serial numbers. 0391, 0392. That is insane. Now, of course, we do have a ton of work to get done on this car still. So the whole thing does need to come back apart. I'm very, very excited to have the entire turbo kit done. The car was gone for maybe a month and a half. In total, they put 125 hours into the fabrication work into this car. And I wasn't planning on discussing price or cost whatsoever, but I always try to be transparent. So I figured I would let you know. For the turbo kit, for all the fabrication, the materials, the turbos, the wastegates, the BOVs, all that, this kit cost just over $20,000, which of course is a insane amount of money, but for the amount of fabrication needed, for how unique I wanted it, for how much material that they used, and for how many hours went into it, honestly, it's really not crazy. It was a lot of money, but in my opinion, it is well worth it. Now we need to go ahead and pull this thing all the way back down and get the shell ready for paint. One super cool thing, and it's going to be very, very nice later on for disassembly and assembly, is this floor is completely removable. Watch this. All the access in the world for ease of assembly and disassembly and just maintenance in general. And then if you take a look over here, this is the floor pan itself for the trunk, and then the stainless heat shield with the air gap in between. You need to go through, before I paint and seam seal the base of the floor down just so it doesn't leak at all. And I probably will gasket the bolt-on floor as well. The entire turbo kit is now removed. Now you can really see just how much work went into this kit. Trying to make everything symmetrical was most likely the hardest part, but seeing all this fab work up close and personal, it is insane looking. Let's keep moving on. We got to pull the subframe or the rear cradle, and then the engine and transmission also need to come back out. Definitely have a ton of work ahead of us, but the two main things, the two biggest holdups with this build are now done. First, of course, the turbo kit that took a month and a half, and then the frame rail replacement, which took, I can't even remember how many months it took for this rail and the uniside to come in from Japan. Both of those are complete, which hopefully means from here on out, it is smooth sailing with the NSX build.